Hi, this is Ken Gidge, and this is Gidge World. Oh, it's not Gidge World anymore. It is the art of politics. I had my evil twin brother here last week who was complaining. Well, complaining for me. First, there's Gidge World, and it's just a world, a Gidge World. Then I invite this guy, Mr. Robbins, in, Dave Robbins, and all of a sudden, he owns part of the show. How did this happen? I don't understand it. Hi, Dave.
Oh, I'm not Dave.
You're not Dave Robbins?
No. I'm his evil twin, Stephen.
You're Stephen today?
Stephen, yes.
Okay, well, anyway, I want to complain about my twin brother first.
Oh, all right, go ahead.
All right, my twin brother last week sat in here, and he was very mad because you asked him if he had a lobotomy.
No, I didn't ask him if he had a lobotomy. I said, I think you've had a lobotomy.
All right, okay. Okay, so that's very Republican of you. You didn't ask him if he had one. You said you thought he had one.
Well, just from the experience of sitting with him.
Right. But
do
you know what he was mad at me about?
What was he mad at you about?
See this?
Yes.
This was white. This is old Socrates here. This was white. And when he saw that I had painted it bronze, he was mad. He was awfully mad at me because I had painted this bronze. How's that?
What he doesn't like copper?
No, he's a connoisseur. I'm the artist, but he's the art collector. There's two different, my twin brother is more intellectual. He's the art collector, I'm the artist. He's the sane one, I'm the crazy one.
I would think that somebody who collects art is more likely to be a Republican. Somebody who makes art is more likely to be a Democrat.
That's right. Now, let me see if I have this straight. So what you're saying is all Democrats are really creative, and all Republicans are rich enough to buy their art.
Well, I don't mind the all Republicans are rich enough to buy the art.
But you don't.
But I don't think creative necessarily. I think, what did you say, crazy?
Creative.
Oh, creative.
Creative.
I thought you said
That's
crazy.
a hard word for you. You don't hear it too much, do you?
No, I don't.
You don't say it too much.
Well,
do you say art? Do you like art?
Yeah, I just realized this show is called The Art of Politics.
The Art of Politics.
I guess we're both nuts.
How's that?
Yeah, there we go.
Well, I just want to say one thing about Socrates. Every week I want to say a little of Socrates. Now, as people know who've watched the show, this is Socrates, so we figured out this is not a bump, this is a tuft of hair. Okay, but it looks like a bump. Socrates never said a word, wrote anything. Plato wrote everything. Plato had a student called Aristotle. Aristotle had a student by the name of Alexander the Great. So here is a very strong group of individuals. Now, something that Socrates said I thought was very, very important. He said a politician must have a love far greater than politics, which means simply you must love something more than politics. That will make a good politician.
Is that money?
Pardon me?
Money?
No. Must love something else.
Why do you say money? Well, I just was wondering. I mean, I just oftentimes.
So you love money more than politics?
I'm asking a question. I'm asking if money can be something that someone loves more.
Well, why would you ask me? What do you think?
I don't know.
You don't know.
You see, that's the thing.
But you're the Republican who buys.
I honestly ask questions because I realize I don't know everything.
Okay. All right. Okay. So anyway, here we go again. Yeah, things are back to normal. It's just a name change. That's all. So you have to have a love far greater than politics to be a good politician, to be an excellent politician. You must love something more than politics. My love is art. Your love. What is your love?
Well, aside from my wife and children.
Yes. What do you love? You don't know. So you love politics more than you love something else.
I don't know that I've thought about it in that way. It's an excellent question. It's an excellent question.
And so if you can't figure out that you love something more than politics right off the top of your head, family is obviously, that's the obvious, then you don't have a love greater than politics. This is your love, is politics. So you cannot buy Socrates, all right, but Socrates said, you cannot be a good politician.
Well, there you have it.
And I can't be a good politician.
From Socrates' mouth to Ken's ear to the television camera, apparently I'm being condemned.
Notice how he
condemned
panders. He panders to the camera.
Absolutely.
You can look at me and talk.
I would rather look at the camera.
You'd rather look at it.
It's much better looking.
Well, that's your good side, because the camera, when it sees you like this, bad. Not good.
How would you know?
Oh, because I've seen you. Don't you watch these shows at all?
You know, I haven't. Can I tell you a real quick story about that, though? I'm really ticked off about something as far as that's concerned.
All right.
I'm really whipped off.
So I'm mad, too.
Really whipped off. But
Okay.
let me tell you. Now, I want to be, I don't want Richard, our producer, to hear this, so I want to do this quietly.
Oh, God.
All right?
Uh-oh.
Do you
we're in
know,
trouble.
I was on the community television website today,
Yes.
and do you know when our show is aired?
When?
It's like 2 o'clock in the morning.
It's not aired twice a day?
I don't know if it's aired twice a day, but I'm looking at one day it's at 2 o'clock, another day it's at 3 o'clock.
In the morning?
In the morning.
We're not in the afternoon?
I don't know.
Okay, wait a minute. Hold up. Richard. If you have Silva, okay, and Silva has the Silva Skillet.
He's got several shows.
He's got several shows.
Uh-oh, the voice of God is coming in from the control room.
I like this.
Those play during the day. And
What?
then I put you got no. The early morning hours between 1 a.m.
Yeah.
and 6 a.m. are repeats from last week of your show.
But what about our new show?
That's in the regular daily schedule.
So we're in the daily schedule.
So you are airing twice a day. One's a repeat from last week for early morning for those people that work.
For those people, in other words, we're in outer space. Okay, so,
Right.
But is Silver in outer space?
All
Is Avod in outer space?
Yes.
They are.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
so,
whatever show played last week for Gate City Chronicles,
yeah,
on a regularly
All right.
scheduled time,
okay.
we'll play at 1 a.m. and 2 a.m. and 3 a.m.
Okay, so where are we?
I have no idea.
You don't know where we are.
No, but I never knew where we are.
See, there we go.
We'll give you an update before you finish
Okay.
the show.
All right.
right. Wonderful. Thank
That
you.
was Richard, by the way, and we have to be good to Richard.
Oh, God, yeah.
Because.
You need to be a little softer spoken if you don't want me to hear.
Oh,
right,
okay.
okay, you gotta be a little-
Richard, thank you.
You got to be a little quieter.
A
Listen,
little quieter.
we got to be good to Richard.
We do.
He controls the lights.
Do
He
you
controls the cameras.
suppose I woke him up
In
from
the
his
sound,
nap?
see?
Yeah. Oh, that's right.
Woke him
That's
up?
Right.
No.
Woke him
He's,
up.
he's awake. He's wondering
Well,
what we're doing.
Are
Are
we?
you having fun so far?
Pardon me?
Are you having fun so far?
You know, I'm a little bit off my feed today.
Okay, good. I'm on my feet today. Hold on. This is the Art of Politics, correct? My evil brother was here. What's behind us?
We have behind us. You know that we moved into the new area.
No.
Yeah.
There's a green wall
No,
behind me.
no. This is we're
This is green,
No,
like Spider-Man wall.
no. We're broadcasting from the anteroom of the State House, where the legislators come in, and there's a window right there behind you, another window there. The clock, right up above Socrates' head. You know, the curtains
Which is
there, and you can see
probably not
outside.
telling the right time.
Oh yeah, well this is the afternoon, and we're up there, and the light's shining
Yeah,
in.
but we're in a room that people first walk into. What good is that? Why aren't we? Why aren't we down like next to the podium? Can
Well,
we get some
I don't
pictures?
think you can do that. I don't think you can broadcast without getting the
No,
speaker's
I didn't
permission.
say. There's a green wall behind us, and there's a picture behind us of the anti-room.
No, we're in the anteroom.
We are in it.
We are right now. We're in the anteroom.
Then why can't we take a picture of us being, like behind us, the whole chamber?
Well, because we can't broadcast from the chamber.
We're not broadcasting from the anteroom
Well, yeah,
right now.
we're in the anteroom right now. It's got a picture, you know, the window's there, the clock's there, you got the drapes hanging down, you know, the sun's coming in. Well, it's not. No, it's afternoon, so the sun's not coming. What are you talking about? Are you all right?
Well, I'll tell you what, one of us has not taken the medication or has taken too much. Behind us is an absolute green wall.
Oh.
All right, okay. So
Okay,
we're
yeah,
in Concord with the anteroom. All right, okay, I'm sorry. We're a little crabby today. All right, now I have said
Where is Thomas?
Thomas was very mad. He was my twin.
Your twin
my
brother.
And I'm telling you,
I'll tell you, I liked him better.
I was yeah. You liked him. You liked him better because guess what? He's smarter than you. I heard.
You know, he's smarter than the average Gidge. Yes.
He's smarter than the average. My twin brother. God, no one. You know, a lot of people don't know I have a twin brother. Well, don't tell anybody, okay? Seriously, a lot of people don't know I have a twin brother.
You know, I think it's more like if I were Thomas,
identical.
If I were Thomas, I would want to be saying, "Don't tell anybody I have a twin brother."
Well, he didn't want to do this last week. He didn't want to come here last week.
Why did he?
Well, he had to because I said I wasn't. I said, you've got to do it. You're my twin brother. You look like me. So they'll probably understand. I was so mad. They took away Gidge World. I don't have a world anymore. I used to have a Gidge World. Very simple, not complicated.
Yeah,
I get you involved. Look at me. Don't look at the camera. Look at me.
I want to talk to our vast and loyal audience. Now, here, Ken is accusing me of either taking too many meds or not taking enough meds because he's claiming there's a green screen behind us. And and now, whew, do I have to put up with this?
Yeah. No, you don't. I'd like to have Gidge World back, but it's the art of
And
politics.
you're talking about living in your own world, this place called Gidge World.
Yes, yes. It's also a website where you can find my artwork. And by the way, that's what I put on my literature, the art of politics. Okay, yeah. Did you have too much or not enough today?
Well, no, I'm a little cranky myself, but this is really.
How come?
Really.
All right, okay, you're cranky. Why? Let's hear.
Well, no, I mean, you know, I come in and then I have to put up with this flaboozle here with you and talk with, you know, this weird talk about green screens and brothers and everything. Why can't
You asked me about my brother.
Why can't
I didn't.
Why can't you just be normal? Why is it you have to be so strange?
Let me explain something to you. If you think I'm strange, look at you. I mean, you're strange.
Look at this. I'm in a suit. I've got the strangest thing about me is my tie from Las Vegas.
Oh, from Las Vegas. What is the tie? I mean, that's the
it's
worst
got
tie.
You know, sort of slot machines
That's the
kind of
worst
thing.
tie I've ever seen.
Yeah,
Why would you wear something like that?
Well, I wanted to add a little
Why don't you
spice.
take it off or throw it up and shoot it?
Well,
I
no,
mean,
you see, I went to, I just graduated from a program today, and I went dressed like this and gave a little talk.
Okay. What program did you graduate
This is
from?
a Leadership Greater Nashua program, and it's something that every year it's offered to about 25 people. You apply for it, and it's a way for...
And the leadership from who?
It's put on by the Chamber of Commerce,
Okay,
and
okay.
it draws from mid-level folks in the art community, the government
Art?
community, nonprofit community, business community in Nashua. And the idea is to get together and do some classwork and then come up with a project at the end.
What was your project?
Project is, over the next 18 months, we're going to raise $250,000 and build an all-accessible and inclusive playground so that people of all abilities can go to this playground. Something like Roby Park, except much bigger and much more inclusive.
Where are you going to find that amount of money?
We're going to raise it.
And where's the park going to be?
Well, that's the thing. The site has not been determined because that's going to depend upon the city making a determination. I mean, that's a very political situation.
Oh, yes, it
We,
is.
we don't presume to be making that decision. We'll come up with some ideas and suggestions, and we'll do all the spade work in
So
advance.
you graduated. Did you get a diploma?
I
or-
did.
You got a diploma?
It's out
Did you
in
get
the
a little
car.
hat and gown? And
No, no
did
hat.
you make a speech?
No hat and gown. I did. I made a speech.
All
Was it-
right, let's hear a little bit of your speech.
well,
Not much.
okay, it was actually a 2-minute
Minute
speech.
of your speech. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a minute of a speech done by,
Hi, my name is Representative Dave Robbins. Where are we here? Dave Robbins, and what I came out of the class, what I learned from the Leadership Greater Nashua class, is that outcomes are much less important than heading in directions. And what that means to me is when I set my sights on a specific outcome, I limit myself and I limit getting to a specific point rather than opening myself up to all possible options and availabilities. And what I need to do is focus more on the direction I'm headed, not the specific outcome.
like an arrow.
Well, an arrow
Go straight
goes straight
for a target.
to a specific point, but if you don't hit the target,
Well, are you saying to the listeners that if you put your mind to something, you'll hit the target every time?
no. What I'm saying is that in any kind of effort, what's required is bringing people on board and opening oneself up to their having their own ideas. It's like legislation. I may have this idea for a great piece of legislation, but I can't do it by myself. And as it goes through the process,
Nobody can.
Well, that's just it.
Nobody
As it
can.
goes through the process, it's going to change. And if I hold on to what I think is the best piece of this, as opposed to working with other people to get a decent result as opposed to my outcome, that's a problem.
So in other words, you're having a hard time letting go of what you think.
Well, what I'm doing is learning.
Learning to let go.
I'm learning to let go of having a specific outcome.
Instead of a little tiny hole, you got the world.
That's correct. And it's not Gidge world, but it's a good world.
Well, that's what artists do all the time. Maybe I should practice, maybe you should teach me how to focus in a little bit more.
Well, no, I'm not trying to focus in. What I
No,
am
you
trying
can
to do
teach
is
me how to,
open.
because I'm way open.
What are you open to?
I'm open to everything.
All right. Well, let's
I have been. All the things I've done in my life.
All
I mean,
right.
I'm open to a lot of stuff.
All right. Let's talk
Jail
about
and-
let's talk about something for a second. Speaking of artists, a fellow who died a couple of years ago, J.D. Salinger. Now, tell me what resonates for you.
This is something, and by the way, for the people who do not know, it's J.D. Salinger wrote Catcher in the Rye. He died several years ago. By the way, that book, one book, sold 120 million copies. Lived in Cornish, New Hampshire. He wanted privacy, and the people up in Cornish gave it to him. If anybody asked where does he live, they pointed him in the wrong direction. He died. His son, Matt, came to our committee, as I'm in consumer affairs besides commerce and consumer affairs, and said, look, I want to show you something. And he showed us one thing, that his father was coming out of the bank, and a guy jumped out of the bushes, literally, to take a picture, and he went like this. So he took the picture, he put it on T-shirts and started selling it. So basically, the very simplistic way is he took somebody's image and made money off it. And what and now this is very simplistic, what Salinger and other people want is they want not to let people steal someone's words, someone's art, someone's creativity, and use it financially for themselves. That's just not fair. And that's a very simplistic way of putting it. Now, so I was for that. We spoke on it. It passed the House, I believe. went into the Senate. I believe it passed the Senate with an amendment, and the governor vetoed it. So
But why'd the governor veto it?
Well, he said it was too broad. In other words, there were too many things. Now, God loved the governor. Okay, I mean, I really like him. He's a good man. But you know, the people who don't do creative things, and everybody does creative things. I mean, everybody. But who constantly don't do creative things. His job is politics. Don't really understand what a creative person goes through. They're stolen from all the time. So I signed up to speak on the bill, the first one to sign up to speak on the bill, to try to override, which is 3/4 or 60%, or what is it?
It's 2/3 of those.
Two-thirds, okay.
Present and voting.
Yeah, right, to override, to get it, the bill in, to override, because he vetoed it. Now, what's interesting is our paper, The Telegraph, wrote, and this is, I find this very ironic, wrote the editorial part of the editorial page about how right the governor was to veto to this. And I thought to myself, you know, if I took exactly what the Telegraph wrote, and I went over, and we will use Hippo as an example. And Hippo, I said to Hippo, would you print exactly this, and I'll put my name on the bottom of it. The Telegraph would go nuts. They would go totally, completely bonkers. There'd be more editorials, how Gidge stole their creativeness, how there is all sorts of rules and regulations. But they forget that this law is basically for the people before they make it. In other words, if I come up with an idea and I show it to you and you see it and someone sees you looking at it and you go out and steal it, well, that's really would be against the law in New Hampshire. But it hasn't been against the law. So we must protect the creative people. So this law basically was for people before they become ultra creative, as they're ultra creative, and after they die. It's like if you buy a house, correct? They want it 70 years after a person dies. In other words, there'd be a law in New Hampshire that you couldn't steal it and use it to make money off. And I said, you know, you buy a house and you want to give it to your kids, and how about if somebody came along and said, no, you can't do that. 70 years, that property goes to somebody else. Well, a house is a house, a book is a book. It's still property. And they're not treating creative people as if what they do is important. So this is a very, very important bill.
All right, let me ask you a question. Let's say when I was younger, I'd have to have been a lot younger, somebody took a picture of me saying hello to Marilyn Monroe. And now I'm older and I want to sell that picture. Now, my understanding is according to this law, if it had passed, I couldn't sell the picture.
No, that's not true. The setting is important. If you are at an outside event and you're with her or next to her, and they take a picture of her, and you happen to be in the picture, all right? This law has nothing to do with that. That's public. You're there. You know you're in a public moment. You know your picture's being taken. No, it has nothing to do with it.
Well, but I mean, Salinger, J.D. Salinger, using him because the law was originally, suggested by his son. He is a public person. He may not want to have been a public person, but he's an author. You said he sold more than 100 million copies of a book.
Well, no. What I'm saying is, somebody can take his book or part of what he has written and make money off it.
No, they can't. Not with that. It's copywritten. The book has a copyright.
So that really, nobody really steals anything that's
copyrighted.
copyrighted.
What I'm saying is, if my sense would be, if you took a chapter of Catcher in the Rye, and you put it up on your website and said, boy, I'm
My name.
I'm writing a new
I
novel.
put my name on it.
And you put
and
your
I
name,
start making money on it.
and you start making money on it.
That's against the law.
You would have lawyers coming at you up
Correct.
the kazoo.
Correct. It's the same thing as if I sit down with you and I don't have a copy, right, and I can prove that you took my work and made money on it without a copyright. This is what this says. It's not complicated. And the law really isn't that strong. It just lets people know that when you come to New Hampshire, you're not going to steal somebody whose work, who's creative, a creative individual.
We're talking about a picture. We're talking about somebody on a public street having their picture taken. Now, we might not like the fact that a photographer went up and scared the guy, but he's on a public street.
No.
I mean, does that mean that...
No,
no. Now, wait a second. Does that mean that the paparazzi can't sell pictures of Lindsay Lohan on a public street? I mean, it's the same thing.
No,
They're both public figures.
All right, I tried to make it simple and not complicated, because this gets complicated. I have patents and copywritten products.
Well, let's not.
And I can tell you this is very hard. All I'm saying is, quite simply, is what he brought in to show us that people were making money on is somebody who literally broke the law to get the picture.
All right. If you
jumped in front of him, stopped him, threatened him to a degree where he put his hands up. And this man, by the way, Catcher in the Rye is not only selling 120 million books, this is a very important piece of literature.
Well, that's fine, but what's happening here is the point that you're making, and perhaps it's not a good illustrative point, seems pretty simple to me. Can I jump out of a bush and say boo and scare somebody and then take their picture? If I'm the paparazzi and I'm doing it to J-Lo or Lindsay Lohan or something like that.
No, and you know, you're right. And as I said, I'm trying not to make this complicated. I'm trying to put a face on what we're saying. So I'll get a little bit more complicated on this, all right? It's work. If I have, wait a minute.
Well, you know,
let us just say you're an athlete.
Yeah, but you know what this is? We've spent 10 minutes on this, and I think we're probably going to start to bore people to tears.
No, I don't think so. I think we ought to, you asked me a question, let's finish it up and move on, because you're wrong. And I have to convince you to change your mind.
Okay. Now, the thing is, I'm open to that. I'm open to the possibility I'm wrong.
Because you graduated from?
The Leadership Greater Nashua
And
course.
now you're open.
I'm open.
Compared to?
You. So, but go ahead. I'll tell you what, 60 seconds. Go ahead.
I beg your pardon?
Go ahead.
Because this is no longer Gidge World, I only get 60 seconds.
Take 60 seconds.
All right. You're an athlete. You do something important. All of a sudden, you see your picture up on billboards selling a product. Now, the reason why your picture up there is because you're a famous person. Nobody has given this individual any permission to use your picture. And they're making loads of money. I'm using this as an athlete. That's another way of explaining it. Does this seem fair to you?
An athlete would sue the hell out of the person who put the billboard up, and they would win.
Well, it's interesting that you would say that, but before you can do that, there are many steps, cease and desist and all that stuff.
Okay.
It gets very complicated and gets extremely expensive. All this bill says is you can't do that up here.
Why don't I have now? I bet you if I had a picture of Tom Brady standing next to me saying, and the caption was, "I endorse Dave for state representative," I probably would be hearing from Tom Brady's lawyers pretty quickly.
Right.
Okay.
You're using his picture to benefit
because
yourself.
I'm doing something that's already illegal.
Correct.
All right, so what do we need another law for?
You're wrong. You're wrong. If that is true of what you say, okay, then why is it that when they jumped out of the bush and scared the hell out of the old man who was about 85, who goes like this, and then they start making money on his picture, literally money, making a ton of money, his Salinger, Catcher in the Rye, Salinger. This is what he looks like today.
Did he have a lawyer contact this person?
Now we get into the complexities of it. You could do that if you could catch the individual. Now you're getting into patents, you get into trademarks and into thievery. It gets very complicated. I've had stuff stolen from me as an inventor. Every creative person has had stuff stolen from them. It's so expensive to try to sue a person. With this law, I could go up to you and say, okay, you've earned money off of me. I want the money back, or can take you to court. Simply go to a regular court. Myself.
But you could do that. You could do that now.
How do I get your name? How do I get your address? How do I get your telephone number? How do I get all this information? I can't do that. But I can say, now it's illegal. He did it. The police or whomever could get that information for me to sue you. Complicated?
Yeah.
All right, it is complicated.
It is, and I'm going to be asked. I'm probably going to be asked to vote on this. Well, if the governor vetoed it,
well, of course
I will. I honestly don't think I can go with you on this.
Well, I'll
I'm
tell you
open.
what.
I'm open.
You're a Republican,
I am.
and I wouldn't be. I'm not talking about you personally. I'm talking about the Republican Party should not be happy with what it did this year. It's just been so chaotic. So absolutely ridiculous. Nationally, we're looked at and we're laughed at. I mean, it's that bad, that awful stuff, okay? Here is an opportunity for both parties to help creative people who wish to keep their ideas and not to have their faces or their actions used to make money. Here's an opportunity to say to our creative people, we're going to help you, we're going to protect you, and maybe some of them will stay around to create their businesses here.
All right, well, it's interesting you brought up the Republican-Democrat thing, because it's the Republican House and the Republican Senate which voted to pass this bill, and it's the Democrat governor who vetoed it.
What's very interesting is that, as I said, this came to our committee. Because I'm in Commerce, which is banking and insurance, and also consumer affairs. This was a consumer affair. And I was one of the people who got very vocal about this. So I helped to get it out there. And then helped get it passed, even though Republicans and Democrats obviously had to vote for it.
All right. Well, as you say, it's complex, and hopefully this will get resolved one way or another. Let's move on to something else. We're in the middle of the filing period right now, and at the moment you're running for re-election, I'm running for re-election. We live in different wards. What's happening on that front for you?
Well, we have three people. Our ward is Ward 6. There's David Campbell, myself, and Buxton, who's a Republican. David Campbell and myself are Democrats. We're running, and plus one other person who I don't know signed up. Actually, 2 people signed up. So 4 people signed up, which means we have to have a runoff.
As Democrats?
Yes. Now, on your side, if 3 sign up, because there's 3 seats, so we have to have 3 candidates on each side fighting for 3 seats. Okay? So if you're a Republican and if 4 people get in, sign up to run against you, that means that you have to have a runoff because there only can be 3. So what happened to us is that somebody who we don't know I want to do it, so that's fine. But you have to understand that it's politics. And if you do that and we have to go through 2 elections, can't afford it.
Well, so basically what you're saying is that in your particular race, there are 4 Democrats currently signed up for 3
Correct.
seats.
Correct.
And 3 of the 4 will win the right to face 3 Republicans in November.
And I found one person who'll bow out.
Unless one of the 4 Democrats bows out.
I think, look, everybody has the right to run. Don't misunderstand me. Everybody has the right to run. But it's politics. And when you realize that no matter what you do, there will be one Republican, especially in Ward 6, that will win. This person can't lose. I won't get into the reasons why. He's very popular, and he's a fireman, and okay. So there is another person who's a Republican who happens to be Liberty Alliance, which is ultra-conservative. Tea Party, believe it or not, is probably the most liberal, and then he's an out-of-stater, which means they just really want to take over the government. Now, you have a lot in your party, 40, I think, who are between the Liberty Alliance and out-of-staters.
Out-of-staters?
Yes. Well,
you mean people who designate themselves free staters?
I'm sorry, I apologize. Free staters.
Free staters.
Okay. Which come in and they want to take over the government. And they did. Okay. Basically, it's the free staters that stopped rail giving back, what, $3.2 million. Duh. It was them who started this. We're not getting the money just to study rail. And those are your Republicans.
So somehow,
those are the free staters.
Somehow we've gone from the primary to my Republicans. Well, I think the primary issue is important because what it means is, anybody can file
yes.
to be
Absolutely.
A candidate, and that's really one of the strengths, I think, of this whole system. If you've been a voter for 2 years in the same location, and if you have $2, you can go down to City Hall and you can sign up to run in either the Republican or Democratic Party. And if they're in Nashua, each of the wards gets 3 seats in the legislature. So there are going to be 3 Republicans and 3 Democrats facing each other in November. And if more than 3 Republicans or Democrats run from a particular ward, there's a primary. There's a primary which will be held in September. And the point is that, on the one hand, this is one of the things that makes this such a great state, because you have, citizens can just say, I'm going to do this. But on the other hand,
in every state,
no,
you can basically do
no,
that.
it really isn't, because where could you or I, what other state could you or I realistically run in?
No, what you're saying is realistically win in. You can run. You need, in many states, you need so many signatures to run. You can run. Realistically, this new person can't win. Statistically, this person cannot win. Just can't win. But this person says, well, I just want to get my name out there. So, okay, so we have another person who has a good chance of doing better. So we're going to ask this person to leave. Now we're going to have a person who just wants to run, and it's everybody's right, absolutely. But politically, it does not help the Democrats. It helps the Republicans. And when you look at it in those terms and see it in those terms, then you're not really a Democrat. You might be a Republican because you can't win. Statistics have shown nobody ever wins like that. Just never wins. They're not with the Democratic Party or the Republican Party. You don't know what money they have. I mean, it goes on. The name recognition. There's a whole bunch of things.
Well, now, how much money do you have?
Nothing.
Well, you've got $25.
$25, which I have from you, which I haven't. And by the way, I've got so upset over this. I'm not kidding you. That there may be 2 people going down and getting out of the politics. I may be here next week telling you that I'm not going to be a candidate. I just can't take somebody not really realizing the importance of winning and getting more Democrats. I just have a hard time with someone not understanding that I was up, didn't sleep, I was up at 6 o'clock, finally got up at 5:30 in the morning, had some crackers, the birds are out there making a lot of noise. I'm telling you, I might just get out of it. It's too much politics.
It seems to me, though, that if you run in a primary and win, that's going to strengthen your hand in November because you have spent more time getting your name out there.
No, well,
And
you're
people are
talking-
more
you're-
people
you're
are more
talking-
familiar with you.
You're talking money. People are familiar with me enough. I mean, you're talking money. You can't, you don't want to do this. So much so that if somebody else honestly went in and to Ward 6 and did, I would get out of it. I wouldn't do the primary thing because it's only helping the Republicans. They don't, the people, either you are a real Democrat or you're not, a real Republican or you're not.
What's
you know
what's
that.
a real Democrat and a real Republican?
A person who really truly wants to win, and as you know, you mentioned it early, up in Concord, nobody does anything alone, they do it together. You are a Republican, you have the majority, the supermajority, and you get things done. Somebody coming in to the party and saying, I don't want to be a party member. I've never been to a meeting, a Republican or a Democratic meeting. I just want to run, get my name out there. Well, that doesn't help because financially one can't do all of this stuff. And the individual can literally win the race for the Republicans.
Well, I would think
Literally
I
win-
would think if
win the
for
race
no
for
other
the-
reason other than that, you would want to make sure that that person had to run in a primary and do your best to have that person lose. Because what I hear you saying is that if you, for example, were just to bow out without a primary, that person gets on the ballot and then, according to what you're saying, loses tremendously in November and hands one of the 3 seats
Oh,
in
yeah.
your ward
Absolutely.
to the Republicans.
Oh, yeah,
and
absolutely.
and I think that you're a strong candidate, and I think that if you were a true believer, party believer, you would make absolutely sure that you ran and run hard.
All right, okay. Hold on a second. You have to be realistic, okay? David Campbell is a strong candidate. In fact, as you know, he has already put it in that he's going to run for Speaker of the House. He's a strong, David's a strong candidate.
Democrat, been a legislator for 3 or 4 terms, at least 4 or 5
5 or
terms.
6 terms,
Yeah.
okay, all right. Yeah, I call him governor, he looks like a governor.
Yeah.
So, all right, he's a strong candidate. The Republican will not lose because he's a fireman, and firemen will stick together, right or wrong. So there's 2. All right? One more. Well, myself. But if somebody comes in from the Liberty Alliance or the Free Staters, and they come in with a ton of money, and they come in with people, you know, feet on the ground, people standing in the polls, literally, money can do it. I would be eliminated. Now, I might not be eliminated if there was one individual who understood politics and decided, I just will not campaign. I will get to a point and I'll say, here, I know I can't win and I want the party to win. And I don't see that anywhere. I don't see anybody really wanting to win. When I hear somebody, I just want to get in to get my name out there, it's okay. I agree with them. You have the right to do it. I'll fight for the right. But if you want the Democrats to win, then you should work with the party first. Become part of the Democratic Party. Get in the works of the Democratic Party. Become a Democrat. Be a Democrat or a Republican. And not to do that and to make somebody lose, I would be probably the weakest of the 3. And then this person comes in and takes votes away from the Democratic votes. I'm sure everybody's got friends, all right? And then you're having to fight the people, the Free Staters, who, guess what? Anybody can be a Free Stater. It's just, they're just not helping the state. Tea Party, as I've said, is probably the most liberal of them all. Then the Liberty Alliance. Oh, and they're coming in. So there's a good opportunity no matter what I do. I can't win.
Well, that's a hell of a way to approach a campaign.
Do the numbers.
You know, on this level, what counts, what really counts, is knocking on doors and talking with people. Especially, one ward is 10,000 people, 3,000 houses, if that, and 1,500 of those houses have voters in them. It is absolutely doable to hit every single door.
You're right. One person can go out and to do that. But when somebody has 20 people working with them and $5,000,
Who is going to have 20 people working with them?
I believe one of these individuals, one of the Republicans.
Well, I think you're grossly overstating the influence of the backing for that point of view.
I think you're underestimating what has taken place in your party. Your party, the Republican Party, has been hijacked. As we've used as a simple example is, it was the Free Staters that stopped rail coming to New Hampshire. That's your party. Now you're telling me I'm underestimating or overestimating?
Yeah.
And I'm
Underestimating. Overestimating, yeah.
All right. All right.
I really think
I can't fight 20 people. I can't fight $5,000. How? And I can't fight somebody coming in who's not of the Republican. It could be a Republican who's doing this. And by the way, this is not uncommon for a Republican to come in and to go to Democrat, sign up as a Democrat, make them work, do 2 campaigns, beat them up a little, take a lot of stuff away from them, and then just bow out. That's not uncommon. And vice versa.
The voice from heaven, and vice versa.
His ears must be burning.
Yeah. Well, all right.
All right, now who's on? Now where? You talked about me. How about yourself? Who's on your? By the way, let me make it very clear. The person who's doing this, it's fine. I will fight for this individual to have the right to do that. I will absolutely. In fact, I promise if one more comes in, I will drop out. I will drop out if one more person comes in. If there's 2. I will do that because I want the Democrats to win. I don't want the Republicans to win. But other people won't do that. Now, who's on your side? Who are you running against?
I honestly don't know. I mean, the filing period's still going on as we're shooting this. I won't know until Monday till they get all the names on there. I know that there are 3 Democrats and 3 Republicans, including myself.
Do you know who the Democrats are?
No. No, it's not. In one sense, it's not terribly important to me. I mean, whatever happens will happen, and I'll run. I love what I'm doing. I'm committed to running. If I have a primary, I have a primary.
No, that's nice to say. If I have a primary, it's okay. It's not okay. Well, unless you have lots of money.
Well, I don't have lots of money, but I am going to be raising money, and the same way I raised it last time, which is I won't take a contribution from an individual of more than $50, and I won't take a contribution from an organization, period. And that way I figure there's really no question about any kind of conflict or influence.
Did you sign where you've agreed that you'll say add a limit of $2,500?
No, I didn't, actually.
You didn't sign that?
Nope.
So, in other words, if you look at how many $50 must you have to make $2,500? 4,000 something?
No, how many $50? 50?
50?
50 times 50. 10 times 50 is 500. 5 times 500 is 2,500.
So how many?
50.
50. You got.
Well, I have no idea. I'm not gonna hit the. I'm not gonna hit that.
No.
Anyway.
Well, it's so, if people only realized, and I think it's important, and I know we get scattered, et cetera, and we don't always, I always like to come in and have things on my mind, but I always like to talk and to throw things out. We're into a very important discussion right now that I think people out there, especially the people in Ward 6, and your ward, I'm a Democrat, you're a Republican, and we're the only show that does this, by the way.
Right.
We're the only show that has a Republican and Democrat on it. I don't know why. Oh, I know, because Republicans can talk to Republicans, and no one will disagree with them.
Well, that's true, and I guess Democrats can talk to Democrats in the same way.
Well, I have, but I'm with you.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's true. Well, we agree, but
But
follow through. Talk about the money. Talk
Okay,
about the money.
I think people really should understand, okay? If one sat down and I said, look, I've worked on the Teachers Protection Bill. I have worked with securities, may save securities $100,000 a year.
Mm-hmm.
I have worked to try to help the poor, the needy. I have worked in all these projects. If I sat down and mentioned them all, a person would go, how does he have time to do all this? All right, and how does he get his money to live? And because we only get paid $100 a year.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have to turn around and spend $2,000, $3,000 for a $100 a year job, okay, to do what I am doing. All of a sudden, there's an unbalance here. And I think the voters, the people out there have to understand, you've got to look at what your candidate, the person that is done for you. My saying has always been, if it's not good for Ward 6, it's not good for the state of New Hampshire. If it's good for Ward 6, it's good for the state of New Hampshire. I've always lived by that. Now, that sounds kind of weird, but guess what? When I go to Concord and I see things that, oh, good for the state but bad for Ward 6, I go, wait a minute. If it's not good for Ward 6, it's not good for the state. More times than not, I am correct. That's the fault. But if people knew what we do, okay, there would really be not much of a problem. They would, if people studied it and turned around. It wasn't a popularity contest, but did it by the numbers. Just did it by the numbers. I think a lot more people would stay in politics. That's my opinion. I think more people, you would get a better quality, including a better quality of a Democrat from Ward 6, meaning myself.
What are you,
But
nuts?
people don't do that.
That's correct. People don't do that. But what you're describing is a land that is not. I mean, one of the things that
The land that is not. Explain what that means.
I will explain that. You're describing something is going on behind the scenes here
I know.
that we
The
just don't
problem
want
is the
to
guy's
talk
got
about.
a pole.
Oh, here we go. We've got
Here we go. Wait a
a
minute.
note coming in here. Let's see.
Okay, a note would be Monty.
What's the note?
No, you talk about a way for a guy to change the topic. All right. We'll read this. This is when we're on, okay? So we can,
Oh, okay.
all right,
We've
okay?
got our schedule. All right.
All
Well, real quick, because I know we're going to wrap this up in a few minutes.
What do you mean we're going to wrap it up?
Look at the time.
What time? It's got to be an hour.
Yeah. 53 minutes.
53 minutes.
That's what he said. Real quick. One of the ways we have to, at some level, be able to publicize ourselves.
Correct.
And most of that is going door to door, talking to people, because we're a small enough political unit that we can do that. But there's still, we need to spend a little bit on signs. We need to spend a little bit on handbills. That's pretty much it.
Okay, hold on a second. Now, let us look at it differently. How about if somebody comes in who has 10 people who work for him and $5,000? Do you think you're going to get reelected? You can say, I'll go knock on the door. They can knock on the door 3 times, 4 times, with a smile on their face and with your literature.
With their literature, yeah.
Meaning your literature.
Yeah.
You can't win this.
It would be hard.
Right.
It would be hard.
So you go 3 times, and statistically, you look at it and you say, well, people would have to take a look at what I've done. Anyway, I guess we have to wrap this up probably a little early tonight.
Well, given the fact that we're both cranky and out of sorts, it might not be a bad thing.
I don't know. I think maybe tonight has been a pretty good show.
All right. Well, we'll see. We'll see.
You want to know why it's a
why
good
is
show?
that?
Because we know we have a lot of things we want to talk about. We end up talking about 2 or 3. Some of them are not even what are in our notes. So it's right off the. We don't know what's going to happen, so the people don't know what's going to happen, and so that's why people watch and listen.
If they do.
They do.
Okay.
They do.
Well, thank God
And you're
for that.
a Republican, I'm a Democrat.
That's correct. And you have something that you want to read.
Yes. Okay. We will be on Monday, noon and midnight. Tuesday, 8 p.m. and 7 a.m. Wednesday, 9 a.m. and 6 a.m. Okay, that's good. Thursday, 3 p.m., 5 a.m. Okay. Friday, noon and 4 a.m. And we're not, you know, we're not in prime time anywhere around here, I don't think. All right, 6 p.m. To 3 a.m., 10 a.m. to 2 a.m. We got the worst. I'll bet you if we look at this AVOD and Silva, and we're the only Democrat Republicans.
I think so. Well, see now you know why I was a little cranky pants when I came in here.
No. It's fair. And let's thank Richard. Okay, one thing. Thank you, Richard.
Thank you, Richard.
He does a good job.
You. Let's say thank you.
Hail to Richard.
Hail to Richard. That's right.
He's got the controls.
That's right. He's got the controls.
And who has the controls? All right. What would you like to say?
What aside from hail to Richard, I'd like to say that coming up at some point, who do we want to have as a guest on?
I don't know. All of them.
All of them?
We'll have them all.
How about that young Representative Valancourt? You talked about having him on at some point.
Yes. What we're going to do is we're going to have guests. Now we haven't quite worked out how we're going to do this, but I think probably somebody will come in who may not want me sitting at the table, so there will be a half hour that you will be talking to them, and then you and I will finish out the half hour. They may have somebody coming in who's a Democrat who doesn't want you on. I mean, you follow?
I can't imagine that.
No. You know, I look at it this way. If you don't like it, don't come on.
Right.
All right. So anyway, your telephone number, your email address?
My telephone number is 978-500-9475. You can reach me at David S. Robbins at Comcast.net. And you, sir?
Okay. My name is Ken Gidge. I live in Nashville, Ward 6, obviously.
Running for re-election?
Running for re-election.
All right, there we go.
We will know.
Where can the money be sent?
Gidge World is one website that we have, which is an art website. Plus, you can got a lot of other information. Also, I'm on Facebook, which is a lot of fun, by the way. Also, you can get me email address, which is kgidge, that's kgidge@aol.com. I'll give you my cell number, which is 603-864-9332. I'm forgetting something. What is it?
Twitter?
No. Okay, that's it. Thank you very much.
Hey, good to talk
All right.
with you. See you next week.